This is the unboxing of Gigabyte GTX 1660 Windforce OC Edition. Hey guys, welcome to another unboxing. Today we are going to take a look at the GeForce GTX 1660 6GB version by Gigabyte. The GTX 1660 or else the GTX 1600 series is another launch from Nvidia, but this time they are going very silent with the launch, because last year we saw the launch of RTX, which is based on the same GPU architecture used in this 1660 or else the 1600 GPU series, and the RTX series, the RTX 2000 series, had its own set of features which put it apart from the old GTX 1000 series or else the 1080, 1060, 1050 series as we know it. So basically what happened is Nvidia launched the RTX series with lots of hopes for RTX, and that was a hype building moment, but then again after its launch, after a few months of its launch, we don't see much games supporting the RTX technology. So far Tomb Raider and Battlefield 5 has released the patches enabling DLSS and RTX features, but then again in fast-paced games the gamers will have minimal chance of understanding or else noticing the RTX features in a fast-paced gaming scenario. So basically Nvidia launched the 1600 series keeping this in mind. So any gamer who wants to get his hands on the newest Turing architecture can do so with the new GTX 1600 series. We have three cards lined up. The first is the GTX 1660 Ti version, which comes with GDDR6 VRAM, and then this card which comes with GDDR5 VRAM, which is a bit slower compared to the GDDR6 version, but then again it is cheaper compared to the GDDR6 version, which makes sense because this card, the 1660, is aimed at the budget gamer. But when it comes to a country like Sri Lanka, this is still priced high. But then again we can expect a price drop with many brands launching their own versions of the 1660. Speaking of the specs, we have a very interesting configuration here. So I have put GTX 1660 Ti against the 1060 and this card. So basically when you look at the CUDA cores, we have somewhat more CUDA cores compared to the old GTX 1060, and then again the same amount of VRAM, and the VRAM technology used GDDR5. So basically this card competes against the 1060 of the old generation, but you do not see much difference in performance. But if you are looking to get your hands on the newest architecture for a reasonable price and a tad more performance than the 1060, the 1660 will be your pick. So these are the basic details, and now you can see the pricing of the card as at March 2019. So let's unbox this card and see what comes in the package. This is the GTX 1660 card by Gigabyte, which is the Windforce OC edition, which has 6GB of GDDR6 VRAM, and the card sports a mid-sized PCB design which should fit most casings perfectly. And then again, as a power requirement, we have an 8-pin power connector and a nice backplate. In order to power this graphic card, the Nvidia side recommends a 500-watt power supply unit, but then again depending on your system configuration, a 400 power supply should be enough. But then again, please make sure that you calculate the power requirements for your system using an online power calculator. So the design is a dual fan design which sports 90mm or else 9cm fans. Taking a look at the output of this card, we find it pretty interesting for a card in 2019 which is aimed at the budget gaming market, having one HDMI port and 3 display ports. So basically, if you have a display with HDMI, you're good to go, but if you're planning for 2 or more displays to run simultaneously via this card, either you're going to get DisplayPort to HDMI converters or else you're going to opt for monitors with display ports. So basically, you need to be aware of this when you're buying this card, because the Nvidia site states that this GTX 1660 can house a DVI port plus other options. So basically, the Gigabyte GTX 1660 OC edition comes with this output configuration. So be aware that you're going to get limited to one HDMI port, and then for more you have to get converters. Okay, so the design and the specs aside, any gamer who is watching this review is keen to know how well these cards run with the most recent games. So I tested this card with most recent and popular titles like Apex Legends and Battlefield 5, and the card kept its cool at around 60 to 65 degrees, and normally this didn't go beyond 70 degrees in room temperatures in Sri Lanka. If you are not from Sri Lanka, you have to be aware that room temps in Sri Lanka are a bit high compared to other countries. So basically keep that in mind. Depending on your room temperature, this card might run even cooler, because the Turing architecture is designed to run cool and consume less power compared to the previous generation of cards. And looking at games like Apex Legends and Battlefield 5 and some other gaming titles, you can see the frame rate. So these frame rates are in 1080p full quality settings or else ultra and very high settings depending on the game. So these are very playable frame rates. If you meddle with the settings a bit, you can get these frame rates to be over 60 frames per second. Okay guys, so this is the review of the 1660 from Gigabyte, which is the 6GB OC edition, and I'll be more than happy if you could give your comments on this unboxing video and everything, because my channel is aimed at Sri Lankans and the channel goes in Sinhala language, but I'm planning to do my videos in English medium as well. So be sure to click that subscribe button and the notification icon and stay tuned. Depending on your feedback, I'll be bringing more reviews in English very soon. See you guys in another video.